In the meantime, get an update from our reporter Mariska Botha, who's outside the Archer's home in Milnerton, of course, in Cape Town. A very good afternoon once again to you, Mariska. Any change from the last time that we spoke? I'm seeing the same sort of scenes, the same police that were sort of patrolling, I suppose, the house of the Arch. Is there anything new at this time? Have you been able to speak to some of the residents that are perhaps around you at this time?
Yes, indeed. We did have a lovely interview a little while earlier. Oh, actually, there's three ladies coming down the road now, just coming to pay their respects and delivering flowers. We've seen one other lady come round a little bit earlier. We assume she's a neighbour. She didn't want to speak to us. So these ladies just delivering some flowers here to the Archbishop. They're going to speak there to Benny Gould, who was also very closely associated with the Archbishop, working with the foundation, documenting the Archbishop's life. He's escorting them into the home to go pay their respects. There they go, walking inside. And a little bit earlier, we spoke to Father Matthew Esau. He was Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu's first personal assistant when he became Archbishop of Cape Town. And he just relived some of the memories and what he remembers of the Archbishop. And he got very emotional when he spoke about 1989 in the run-up to the massive Cape Town Peace March that happened not far from where we are standing now, around 12 or 15 kilometers. That huge march taking place under the guidance of people like Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu, Alan Boesak and others, of course. Just before that march took place, he told us several people were killed in Cape Town on an election day. And when he went inside as the Archbishop's assistant to go tell him what was happening outside on the streets in Cape Town, he himself got very emotional when he told us that the Archbishop wept. He cried and he told him that he needed quiet time to go reflect and pray. And when he returned from that prayer, he said to Father Esau that they need to do a march. They need to do a massive march. And that, of course, was one of the biggest marches during the apartheid era. All people from all walks of life coming together in protest against apartheid to speak out and demand an end to apartheid and for the killing of the people of South Africa to stop. He says he will fondly remember Archbishop Tutu always, and he told us that he spent his last birthday with him. Although he was very frail, he remembered everybody's name who was sitting at the table. He said 12 of them were invited, and he was in good spirits as always, wanting to go outside, speaking to others. But they prevented him from doing so, as he was very frail at that stage already. He was very emotional when he came to say goodbye and speaking to the family members and loved ones here. There we go, some of these ladies. Let's see if we can lure them closer. Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, ladies. We're live on SABC News. Would you mind doing a short interview with us?
No problem.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Good afternoon to you. First of all, just your name and surname. And
my name is Lana van der Berg, and I'm from the Land Party. And we're just here to pay our respects to a stalwart, who's been in the front line of most of the struggles that, people of colour suffer here in South Africa. Yeah.
And what were your words inside that you exchanged with the family? Are you willing to share with us?
Well, it's just our heartfelt condolences, to the family at this very trying time from the Land Party. There's no words to explain the shock that we are in, yeah.
And what did Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu mean to you?
Oh, well, being so-called coloured, he stood side by side with us in our struggles in the 80s and everything. So, we remember all the good. With all the good there comes the bad, but at times like this you got to think back of who the true man really was, and the trials and the tribulations that he had to encounter, to be part of our struggle. Yeah.
We were just talking about, an earlier guest told us about the Peace March in 1989 in September. Were you perhaps part of that? And if you were, can you recant some of what you remember of that time?
Unfortunately, I wasn't part of that. I was living in Durban at the time, but yes, even though you were, no matter where you were in Cape Town or in the country, you felt connected to that monumental, that very important step that he took. Yeah.
And you said you must remember who the true man was. Who was he to you, the true Desmond Tutu?
Well, the true Desmond Tutu, he was alongside Alan Busak, So I was still in high school at the time, but the name resonated some sort of hope. Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop, it just resonated some sort of hope that change would come. That's what it meant for me.
And do you think the country is now where Desmond Tutu wanted it to be, or the country that he had dreamt of?
Not at all. Not at all. And, the fight still continues. This country consists of rich and poor. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. So the fight is still on. We continue with the struggle, with what he has taught us and how he has shown us that what we believe in, we must continue. We mustn't give up.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, ladies. Thank you for joining us. There you have it, the land party coming to pay their respects. As she said, they're remembering Desmond Tutu and carrying on. Those are the words we heard several times today. People saying the greatest gift you can give to Desmond Tutu in remembering him is continuing the work that he did to build a united South Africa, the Rainbow Nation that he dreamt of. And he's had an impact on people of all walks of society, as you heard there, from the political sphere to the religious sphere. And on that note, we did hear a little bit earlier from some of our contacts that the Archbishop apparently did not want his passing and the burial, that period in between, to be protracted. He wanted to have it done as soon as possible. So there's some speculation as to whether or not it will happen this coming weekend, perhaps on Saturday. But we know that in the middle of the coming week, there will be an interdenominational faith ceremony for the Archbishop, most likely at the cathedral in Cape Town, in conjunction with the city of Cape Town. So a few people coming by to pay their respects. You just saw them now on air with us there. And of course, earlier Father Matthew Eso recalling the days of Desmond Tutu and the time spent with him during the dark days of apartheid, like the lady also told us, and afterwards as well. He never lost that twinkle in his eye. He never lost hope, and he always prayed for South Africa and her people.
All right, Mariska Botha, thanks very much for that. Mariska Botha.